Hey, welcome to Event Academy. Today we're presenting Event Academy's Intro to Basic Actions in Blender. It's your instructor, Faye, again. And another fun fact about me, pomegranates. They are the best fruit. In fact, I'm eating them right now, actually. Alright, on our agenda today, we're going to go through Blender navigation, object and edit mode, simple object transformations, and some useful keyboard shortcuts. And again, on this web page, I have a couple of pictures that are just some examples of cool things you can do in Blender. For example, we got this awesome dragon rig, some really interesting particle physics going on in the bottom right-hand corner, and an interesting creature design that was made in Blender. Alright, navigation. We have a couple of main ways to navigate the viewport. First one is just rotating around with the middle mouse. You can also zoom in and out with the scroll wheel. And you can pan the view, like shifting it side to side, by holding shift and then the middle mouse as well. So I'm going to take you inside Blender, and then we're going to look at the navigation. Alright, so inside the viewport, I can hold the middle mouse and rotate around. That allows me to look at the object from different angles. If I also want to rotate around, I can use this sphere in the upper right-hand corner. I can just drag my mouse around the sphere, and I can look at different axes as well. Now if I want to zoom up forwards, I'll just use my scroll wheel, and then that lets me get up close with the object. And then finally, if I want to pan it, I'll just hold shift and then click and hold the middle mouse. That lets me move the object up and down, side to side. And then finally, there are two views I want to cover inside Blender. First is perspective view. That is the view that we are in right now. It is the 3D view. The other one is orthographic. Orthographic is essentially a 2D representation of a 3D. So essentially, you'll only be able to see the object in 2 dimensions. So on a Mac, I can just go into, for example, I can just view the object from the top by clicking Z right here in the sphere. That will bring me to top orthographic view. You can do the same with any of the other sides by clicking Y or X, and that will give you a side view of the object. And then for those on a Mac, you can toggle between these two, or for those on a PC desktop with numpad, you can toggle with numpad 5 and then look at the different sides with 1, 3, and 7. Alright, object and edit mode. So these are two of the main modes that you'll be probably editing in. And the hotkey to toggle between the two is tab. It's very important to memorize. So what's the difference? In object mode, it's essentially for working with entire objects, for repositioning them, and if you want to say you have a large scene and you want to move a collection, you would probably select the object in object mode and then reposition them inside that. And then edit mode is for editing individual meshes and modifying very specific geometry in the internal structure. For example, right now you can see that we are in object mode by this orange border around the object. Now, if I were to go into edit mode by hitting tab, you can see that this orange border turns into a faint border with the edges, the faces, and the vertices selected. If I click out of the object, you can see that everything becomes unhighlighted. Now, if I want to select a face, up here there are 3 of the points you can select. For example, there's vertices select, edge select, and then face select. Once you're in one of these select modes, you can click on a face, and then that appropriate face will be highlighted, and then you can edit that specific face or vertex or edge. Alright, now we're going to do some simple object transformations. So there are a couple. There's moving around, rotating, and scaling. And the letters inside the parentheses are the keyboard shortcuts or the hotkeys. Good to memorize, probably. So for moving around, we have G. So I'll just hit G, and I can drag the object around with my mouse, reposition it anywhere I want in this viewport. I can also bind the transformation to a specific axis. For example, if I only want to move this object in, say, the Z axis, I'll just hit Z, And then now I can only move it up and down. Same for X, same for Y. And then that's the same for rotating as well, which you can access by hitting R, the rotate hotkey. I can also just rotate in the X direction, in the Y direction, or the Z direction. And then that is also the same for scaling, which is S. And that's essentially modifying the size or the scale of the object. I can scale it in exclusively one direction, Z, X, Y. And then another way to access it, if you forget the hotkey, these on the side panel, there are these objects, there are these tools. For example, the move tool, it will bring up a central little set of axes, and you can just click on the arrows to move the object as well. And then same for rotate, there is this sphere, and then you can just click on whatever axis you want to rotate it in. And then for scaling, there is another useful way to scale. And to look at the object's exact size, you can go into the transform toolbar, which sometimes is not very apparent. Right here, it's on the very edge, the top right edge. You click this little arrow, and then the transform toolbar will pop out. And then you can look at the object's exact scale. Say you need to do it at exactly 2.5. You can type in a number, hit enter, and then it will scale to 2.5 in the X direction. All right. So after these transformations, these are some useful keyboard shortcuts I'll go through. We already covered move, scale, and rotate in the toggle edit mode. And then another useful one is duplicate, which is Shift D. So say I want another copy of this object, I can hit Shift D, and then another exact copy will be available for me to add and drop wherever I want. And then say I want to select everything in this entire scene, I can just hit A. Everything will be selected, including the lights and the camera. And then if I want to deselect everything, I can just hit Alt A, or I can just click out. And then, yes, these are some of the useful keyboard shortcuts. And then for a more comprehensive list, you can click the link below. It'll take you to a nice link with more detailed actions and commands. And yeah, that is the video content for today. Thanks for watching, and I hope you come back and see the next video as well. Thank you.